Fluorspar can be an unpredictable city. Affluency doesn't mitigate its problems. In some ways, it amplifies them. This is why we're deployed. But we've seen better days.
Then why are we just now debriefing?
This mission is not complete.
I only know of her. Our lack of data collection is a problem.
Valdez, I'm aware of your investigative talents. Braxwell spoke highly of you, and that's why you're on this team. Local law enforcement handles itself very well. But there are those with abilities. Some believe themselves to be good. Others don't even attempt to act as if they are. Either way, we're involved. Not everyone will agree with our status. But that can be said for anything. May I remind you both, we're Alphacore, and failure is not what we do.
There we are. There we are. What is up, everybody? Of course, we are live. This is my first stream back, actually. I've been doing some things. I won't exactly describe what they are. Those are for a later date. Let's just say that. But been very, very busy, but I'm back here. First stream back, and we are closing in on $1 million for Alphacore #1. So, of course, who other than to bring on the first stream back the great Chuck DIXON and writer of Alphacore #1. Brother, how you doing?
Good. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. I appreciate you, man, as always. Someone said you said they're hearing the wrong mic. Let me make sure. Yeah, you are. Good call. Whoever said that they are hearing the wrong mic. Hold on. I think it's the one we want to hear. Cool. Whoever did that, good call. I just got that fixed. I'm not sure why that defaulted to my webcam mic like that, but appreciate that heads up though. But I'm glad you're doing well. Chuck, I'll go ahead and pull this up real quick. As you guys can see, these are accurate numbers, I believe. We are almost 7,000, just 7,000 away from $1 million. This will be the third, it's just crazy, first non-ISON product, and it still looks like it's going to be crossing over $1 million. That's incredible. It speaks to you guys' enthusiasm. We're glad we have another proven property here. And it was a recipe for success when you have someone like Chuck, of course, writing this book. But I'm just so glad that it's doing so well. And it is a change of pace from ISOM 1 and 2. You're dealing with a different team. And again, I appreciate each and every one of you. If you want, I know I've asked you this a million times, Chuck, but just in case, we have some people that are new here, and this is their first time hearing about what this book is about. Can you go ahead and give us a quick pitch?
Well, Alphacore, they're public servants and public figures. They're superheroes, but they're not the usual, masked vigilantes with secret identities. they are police officers in Florist Park, patrolling the skies and the streets. And this first story is, big action. It's all the superhero stuff you like combined with a police thriller. There's some whodunit elements and police procedural mystery elements. And it has, thanks to Joe Bennett, has a mind-blowingly destructive conclusion.
That's one way to put it. Actually, it does. Joe Bennett, man, he does such a great job. If we scroll down here for you guys that have not seen it yet, these are the interiors. Of course, for it, you see just how incredible that it is that he is. And again, Chuck did a great job of he knew who he was working with, right? He's like, hey, this is Joe Bennett. I'm giving Joe Bennett stuff. And he wrote such a great script. It's incredible. Can't wait for you guys to get the book in hand. We're going to start shipping those very, very soon. Actually, December 4th, it looks like it's going to be the official fulfillment date. We got all the items. We're waiting on a couple, but for the most part, we have everything to get us started and get things shipping. And I'm very, very excited for you guys to read this book. And yesterday, Chuck, not yesterday, right before I left, excuse me, we were speaking with the Saskas on stream. We were talking about everything it is that we're doing here, in building. She talks about, obviously, with Alphacore, what happened in the first book with ISOM. That's where the conflict took place, right? It was between Alphacore and Yaira. And that was both of their introduction there. And in a way, this really sets up kind of who Alphacore is. And yes, you're going to get the follow-up to all those events that happened up in ISOM 1 in the Yaira book. But this book here in Alphacore #1 is really setting them up. And I was thinking about it, well, like in a way, though they don't really have a prominent role in ISOM 2, they're there. And I was like, well, Alphacore is like in every book it is that we're about to put out in some capacity, which is cool.
The cops are going to show up at some point.
Exactly. I was just about to ask you about that. Like, how is it writing a story like that in a city, right, that has characters like Alphacore? You're dealing with Accepts, which they handle those types of threats, right? You've done, you don't obviously have to give it away, but you've done some other stories, right, that are within the Riververse that we have not announced. But how is it kind of differentiating? Because this is kind of a newer concept, writing a story with a city that really has a dedicated superhero team that is directly working with the cops.
Well, I think it's an interesting idea because it takes away some of the usual superhero tropes, hiding your secret identity, being an outlaw, operating outside the law. But then it replaces it with, the normal tensions that happen within a big city police department. And we see more and more controversy surrounding the police as the years go on, and, deserve it or not. And Alphacore has to deal with that. They're cops too. Even though they can fly and have superpowers and all the rest of it, they've got to deal with the day-to-day. They've got to know that somewhere out there, someone's aiming a cell phone their way.
Yeah,
And they can't just do what a normal superhero would do. It's just whatever the hell they want. They've got rules to abide by. And, like any good fictional cop, of course, they rail against those rules.
Yeah, of course.
And they bend the rules. But that's what makes it fun. It's basically a mashup of two genres: police thriller and superhero, action story. And I'm just having fun, working all that out.
Yeah, it is. It's fun because definitely as we're coming up with these other stories, I'm like, okay, where is I'm constantly thinking like, where is Alphacore, like in the story it is that I'm writing? Do they know about this given scenario? And again, considering that this is a world that they are in, you're writing with that in mind. And doesn't mean that they need to be everywhere, because they literally can't be. Right. They're going to be dealing with their own threats, but it's fun to write us, because it's a different approach, right? It's less of I still think there's some creativity that's involved there, but it is less of a complete free for all, in a sense that, well, yeah, you're not writing this, like, to your point, mass vigilantes that are really kind of just doing whatever it is that they have their own set of morals, and that's what they're operating by. Whereas to this one, yes, the individuals within Alphacore may have their own set of morals, ethics, or whatever it is that you want to call them. But yeah, they are operating within kind of the confines of the law itself as it pertains to the actual city. So that differs. And also understanding that accepts in this world know that they're a thing. Some of them will know that they are a thing. And, that may kind of have some sort of influence on how they act, right? And it's just a fun experience. It's overall, it's a fun experience as I'm writing this. And again, guys, everybody that's watching it, once you get the book, you're going to learn a lot more about the city. You're going to learn a lot more about Alphacore. Obviously, it is their book. But again, this is a city with accepts in it, but a specific task, force, if you will, a wing of the police department that actually is that's what they deal with. They deal with these sorts of problems. So your mind's going to get jogging there. Before I get off on like this tangent and start talking about some of these other things, I do want to mention that the CGC copies by Chuck here have all sold out. You can see them right here. They're all gone. So best case scenario, when I say best case, I don't want you guys to get upset if it does not happen. We will reassess our inventory at close of the near the end of the campaign, towards the end of the campaign, as we start with fulfillment and we understand how many damages we got and all that. Perhaps, like, this is a shot in the dark, I'm just telling you guys right now, perhaps there will be some more from that stock it is that we have, because again, we have to account for damages and everything else. But if there are going to be some more, it is just going to be a few. Okay. So some people have asked for totals. Cover A had the most of them. It's around 630 of those. And it's 575 for B, C, and D that are available right now. Well, were available. Those are all gone now that were available. So if they do come up for sale, it will only be a handful of them. It won't be that many, but there's a possibility. But don't hold your breath. So if it doesn't happen, just understand we sold what it is that we got, and that's it. So we appreciate each and every one of you guys that have got in on this on those CGC copies. There's still some limited items, if you will. The main one being this right here, cover C. We only are having 5,000 of those that you guys will be able to purchase. So be sure to get in on that if you have not already, as we again enter in. Now it's less than 7,000 left before we hit that $1 million mark. And of course, you guys know, as according to the benchmark here, at the $1 million, you get the Riververse Studio shirt, and that'll be added to the campaign. All of our assets are ready, so we will be able to get that out pretty quick, and some of you guys are going to be revisiting the store. So again, appreciate all of you guys and the success it is that you're giving us here in purchasing this product. It looks like we're going to have our third. And it still, the crazy thing is, number one, fulfillment hasn't started. Number two, we still will have 2 months left in this campaign, and you guys are going to get the books, and we know that you're going to give the great reviews. We can't wait to see that. That's going to entice other people to get in on it. So we possibly have not seen anything else. And I see some people bringing up, so Andrew brought it up just now. Let me remove that there. Some of the gear it is that we're rocking. Of course, this is stuff that you will be able to get at the actual store. I'm wearing the Ingrid Valdez sweatshirt here. I also have the Alphacore beanie right here as a Riververse Comics logo on the back there. So you can grab that from the store. These things are, we do quality. We do nothing but quality in our prints. Not one of those that are just going to wash away the minute you put the bad boy in the washer. These are very quality, and this is about as comfortable of a sweatshirt. I'm really glad how this came out. Glad with how this came out. Comfortable sweatshirt that I've ever worn, one of. So I thank you all for the continued support. But let's get back to talking like world building and all that. I love to shoot shit with Chuck Dixon and talk world building. So, we know that you've been working on some other stuff. You got some other ideas that we'll announce at a later date. We're also going to put our heads together on some stuff it is that we have going. So again, I may have asked this question before, and you kind of mention it, but you're having fun, right? And
yeah.
that's what it's about, right? I want a legend like Chuck Dixon to have fun, but if you can, just for the sake of the audience, maybe there's some aspiring writers, people that want to be part of larger creative teams. What is it that has you having a blast?
Well, I mean, number one, I know that you have faith in me, and that means a lot to a creator. I know I've been around a while and all that stuff, but I don't rest on my laurels. I need to know that who I'm working with, we're all on the same team. We all want to create quality work, and that's the feeling I have at Ripperverse. I feel very at home with you and your whole crew. And also, you hooked me up with Joe Bennett, who I had been associating with a little bit through emails and stuff after he got his troubles at Marvel, and because I wanted to commiserate, because I've been there.
You've gone through the same thing, yeah.
So, and then we kind of liked each other, kind of got along, and then we get to work together, and it's a whole new dynamic, man. I mean, you don't know, Eric, how much he and I communicate in the background talking about the Ripperverse. Seriously.
I love it.
Coming up with ideas, and we're cooking up something this week that's going to blow your mind.
Yes,
down the line. And I keep saying, to Joe, I said, you're working on something now. I don't want to keep distracting you. And he goes, no, tell me. I want to know. So we've been back and forth. So we're like kids at Christmas, man. We're having a ball.
That's awesome, man. See that, and we have this other project that will be announcing soon. Joe Bennett has been a part of so much stuff it is that we're currently doing, and I love that you guys are having those conversations, because again, look, we're really at the beginning stages of this. You know what I mean? Like, we have a lot of stories to be told. There's plenty of stories to be told, and different genres and different concepts it is that we're going to be able to entertain here, in and even out of the superhero realm, and it's fun. And this is why I'm always wanting to entertain those ideas. We'll be having a meeting soon with you and I, the Shaskas. I've already talked about that a little bit creatively, to just really talk about some of these ideas and how we can make them come into fruition. And this is, again, a dream come true, because number one, obviously, it's you, and being a veteran and being able to hear those ideas and learn from those as well, just from a writing perspective. And you have the Shaskas, who are always thinking and pondering on great ideas, and they have their own spin kind of on various characters. They have their expertise in the other genres it is that they've done with even film and stuff. So it's just fun. It's just fun, because again, like I said before, I can't think of a lot of the stuff that you guys come up with. So it's like awesome to hear that you're forward thinking, because it's less about if we're going to do these different things, it's more of a win. And how we can make it make sense within the universe it is that we're building. And again, I just love that everybody's having fun. This is kind of a theme of the company here, that we even with the guys at the warehouse, I just want people here. You got to, again, you got to meet a lot of them. We want them in good spirits, and we want this to be just an awesome environment where people, it's work at the end of the day, but who says that you can't at least enjoy it? Why it is that you're here.
Yeah, the vibe at the warehouse was like friends hanging out. It was great. I mean, everybody's working their butts off, but they're all having a good time, joking back and forth, and and all the rest of it. And like I said, it made me feel very much at home. So I'm just happy to be part of the crew. I'm happy to be accepted into this family here.
Yeah, most definitely, man. I've told you a million times, man. I'm glad that you're here, man. It means a lot to me. Again, just for my individual growth as a writer, to have someone like you around. So I appreciate that so much. But you mentioned before some of like the detective elements of this story with Alphacore, obviously, with it being connected with the police and all that. And we know that your experience with some stuff that you've done in the past. Is it one of those things where you go into writing a story like this where you do kind of lean on some of that experience, or was it a different kind of, obviously, because it's a different concept with having cops that are directly or superheroes per se that work directly, like not with they're cops themselves, right? What was the approach when you tried to consider, I guess, the detective kind of style and elements and entertain those as you're telling this this story? What was the approach there?
Well, obviously, I've written a lot of superheroes, so I think I've got that genre down. and but I've written a lot of police stuff too. I wrote a lot with the Gotham City Cops, a lot of stuff involving the Punisher, involved police officers. I wrote a mini series for Marvel called Call of Duty, a Code of Honor, which was told from the point of view of a police officer looking at the Marvel universe. So I have some experience here mixing these two genres up, and it was just a matter. I mean, at DC, I was known as the guy who could write a mystery.
Yeah.
Whenever they needed a mystery story, I always got the phone call. Like, we really need a mystery. Like, what everybody's seen Batman Black and White, the big collection. It's a classic. Yeah. When they got to the end of that, they were getting ready to go to publication. They realized not one writer had written a mystery, and so the editor called me and said, "Could you write us a whodunit?" Nobody's done that. Wow. So I had like a week, and I put out a whodunit. But so I'm comfortable in both of these genres, very, very much so, and just having fun, rolling through the streets of Forest Park.
Most definitely. Yeah, it is. The way that you did it, I'm not going to spoil the story. But the way that you did it was so intriguing, man. It's such a fresh story just all together. And it is a great, taking some of those familiar things. And I think really that's a theme of the Rippaverse as well, is that there is a level of familiarity with certain things about it, but it still has that freshness to it. So it's still something that you're going to get that you're not necessarily going to find anywhere else, but which is why I think that it's so welcoming. If I can, I don't want to say toot our own horn, but yeah, I do believe that this is for those people that have always liked the overall concept of maybe comic books and comic book characters and comic book based media. I think this is a great time to get in and a great company to get in on because of exactly that. It just has, again, those elements of familiarity. I even talked about like with ISOM's suit, right? And how I kind of simplified it purposely. Like it's different from like these two back here. Because of exactly that. So you get ISOM and it's welcoming to the newer audience, but people that have been around the block, they're going to see that and be like, oh, that's something that I can get with. And I love that because I think that exists all through it, the company itself, as far as what it is that we are producing. And I think, of course, it speaks to some of that level of the expertise, that perspective that is that we're coming from, with having people that are here, that are creating, that have that have been here and done that. So before I get too far behind and into this conversation, again, appreciate all of you guys that are hanging out. I'm gonna fly through some of these because I don't want to save them all for the end. Orko the Great, 5 gifted subs. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Man, you've been going crazy with all these damn gifted subs. My man's Bruce there with a 10 says another $1 million campaign is about to be locked in, and Yaira will blow past $1 million easily. Let's fucking go, he says. Yeah, and that's fun, man. To your point, like this was the first non-ISOM property, so it's hard to see kind of how those are going to do because we got ISOM, but this is it, man. This is different. And
that was the question going in. You know, I mean, I know you thought, oh, it's Chuck Dixon, he's going to do great. Well, I am Chuck Dixon, and I never think that. So I never assume. I'm not Disney Productions where I think everything I touch is gold.
Yeah.
And I told you this privately that the people that follow you, subscribe to you, and everything else, they're your people. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them probably didn't know who the hell I was, so you told them about me. Yeah. So I wasn't going to assume that everybody's like, "Yay, Chuck Dixon!" I'm just going to buy 12 copies. So this was your party I got invited to. And I'm just glad that I got adopted here so readily because, my expectations are, here, and then we're way up here now.
Yeah.
So it's great. But, that's the way it is with, entrepreneurs like yourself. I mean, you built this around your personality, your ideas, and everything else. And then the rest of us, the Saskas, me, Mike Barron, we're showing up, Joe Bennett, we got to make our place here.
Oh man.
And and thanks to all you folks for shelling out the cash. You made a place for me here.
Oh man, and it's awesome. It's again, even me, man. I go into it and I try to tame all of our expectations. You know, like even for example, our campaign goal, right? You know, if this campaign makes 300,000 or whatever, like that's good. That's a fucking good campaign. Like we go into it like, okay, yeah, we can do more books. We're going to be able to reinvest. That's a great campaign. So they aren't just random numbers. I go into it like let's set a goal that we're able to analyze those numbers and feel good about it. Like we don't feel like this was a failure. If it hits that number, we feel like it was actually a great success. So we've more than tripled that, right? We more than tripled that. And look, it's not standard. I don't even want my own audience to get used to that. Like guys just don't shit out $1 million campaigns like that. That's not a thing that just happens, right? That's not how it works. So, you know, to see a different prop, and it's a different prop. Yes, Alphacore was introduced in ISOM, but it is very much a different book. And I say this as someone that obviously created the damn characters, but reading Chuck's book, these are different. It's a different feel. So for people to be enthusiastic about a different property that's a different genre, as far as in the superhero realm, and you know, it's not mine, right? This is Chuck's property, as far as I'm concerned, as far as him doing like the definitive version of what we're going to look at Alphacore going into the future. There was a lot of question marks, a whole lot of question marks. So, you know, to see it do what it's done is a real testament, I think, to the team that is here, and also more importantly, the audience and how just stoked it is that they are. And to Bruce's point, we have another bomb that's dropping right after this with Yaira, and man, who knows what that's gonna do as well. So, you know, we're having a blast, and you know, to have you guys be that confident about this and showing more, you know, you're showing with your money, right? You know, not just showing, just talking. These guys are putting their money where their mouth is and actually wanting to purchase product. Man, I'm living a dream right here, and to have these guys here with me, that means a whole hell of a lot to me, because again, it's my growth as an individual, as well as just the company itself. This is not a one-man army by any means. This takes a dream team, and we got a great bunch here, man. So shout out to you, Bruce. I appreciate that. My man is an ANCAP gamer. 41 months being a member, says nearly 4 years of a member. That is a long time, buddy. Stonks way up. Shout out to ANCAP gamer. Thank you so much. Love that he's here, man. One of my first mods. So appreciate you, man. Defendo 99 with the more fanfic says, my favorite part of Rippaverse was when the pigeon was bitten by a radioactive goalpost and got the power to shift around at will. Appreciate that. Defendo just got an update from Andrew, says we're 6.5K away from $1 million. So that's crazy. Pinned comment at the top. I don't know how close we are to also 17,000 total books sold. So we're right around the corner from that as well. So Defendo 99, I appreciate that so much. Q Ball with a 45 months. It's crazy. I've been a member to the chat. Damn, that's a long time. For so long on being here. Plan on being here much longer, and I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. We got a 10, says, why aren't you and Chuck wearing tuxedos? You guys need to dress the way I deem appropriate. In all seriousness, the guy upset with your casual attire was playing weird. I don't know if you saw that, Chuck. I know exactly what this guy's talking to. Look, people have been telling me this since I've been a thing, right? I mean, I remember being as casual as I was, or more so in my kind of get up and attire when I was in my like early 20s and doing the band thing. I wasn't dressing up like everybody else was. So they saw our interview, and we're not like in a suit and tie. And so there was somebody that was like, oh man, you could dress this way and that way. And I'm like, dude, this is just who we are. We're just coming at this. This is what you get. Right. I guess people wanted me to change, but that's what he's referencing. That was a weird comment, but I'm telling you guys now, you will not be seeing me wearing any tuxedos, no matter how much money it is that we start bringing in with this company. This is just who I am.
You catch me on my work day, you're lucky I'm wearing pants.
Exactly. We're casual people, man. This is what it is. Look, let's be honest. I think that resonates more often with the audience anyway, because this is just we're just coming as we are, right? This is just who it is that we are.
Now, when I used to go up to visit DC and Marvel, my wife would say, "You should dress better." You know, I went looking like a bum. If I dressed better, they wouldn't let me in.
Yeah, exactly. This is who we are. This is who we are, man. So what you see, what you get. The best name I can think of with a 5. So how many pages into the book does Valdez teach others the power of brown girl magic? I can confirm that she does not see someone falling, and I don't know. Brian does not yell brown girl magic to her.
Yeah, don't be looking for that.
Yeah, so that's not present in the book. I can promise you that, and it will not be present in the live action version if that happens 10 years down the line. You won't be seeing that. So appreciate that. Man, that actually got put in a they got put in a movie. Green hair anti-liberal, who is actually the first cosplayer of actually she's one of the first cosplayers, her and Krista of Yaira, but she is the first cosplayer of Ingrid Valdez. She was at Anime Matsuri. I didn't get to make it this past year. But we did see the pictures. That shit was sick. So shout out to green haired anti-liberal with this 10. Says can't wait to see Chuck, what Chuck has done with my girl Ingrid and the guys. Hell Alphacore, here's to another $1 million success and many more in the future. We are winning. Yes, we are. And it's thanks to people like you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Shout out. Y'all follow her if you don't. Sergeant Dan Stuff with a 10. Chuck, I run a super police procedural tabletop RPG for gaming conventions. I cannot wait to see how your story pans out. Congrats to Eric and the Ripper team. Well, thank you, Sergeant Dan Stuff, and shout out to you. And I know we've got a lot of requests about entering into that. I got to get more knowledgeable before we start entering into, let's say, tabletop gaming and all that stuff. But the fact that people, want stuff like that and there's a demand for it, I'm all for it. Headcase Laboratory with a 5 said they sidelined Scott Pilgrim in a show called Scott Pilgrim. Tired of the bait and switch game. I'm glad to support the Riververse with my money. Let's talk about that actually real quick. And we'll get to some of these super chats because we have a writer here. And so just so you know, I don't know if you know Chuck. So this is very similar to what happened in He-Man, where the recent one with Kevin Smith that he produced, and he bragged about killing off He-Man immediately, like twice or whatever it was. And it's not a He-Man Masters of the Universe show. It's that's not who it's focused on. Same thing happened, similar, in this new Scott Pilgrim thing. It's called Scott Pilgrim Takes Off or whatever. That's the name of it. Yeah, he literally took off. So you can make the argument that they weren't slimy, but they were with how they promoted it. It is not an adaptation. It is more of a centered around another character. I just got somebody just hit me up and said I couldn't stand it. They were 4 episodes in. They said they rage quit it. So it was a bait and switch where it's not about Scott Pilgrim. So you're seeing a little bit of this bait and switch where it's like to get butts in the seats or to get viewership, to get subscribers, you go with what people actually come for. Right. And then you say, nah, that's just not what this is about. We're going to tell this other story. What is your take on the stuff being made for the modern audience and they doing stuff like this?
Well, I mean, who is this modern audience? Because apparently they haven't been able to find them either. So, they're making movies for people that will never go see them. I made my bones on strong female characters, but, I made them interesting. Yeah, and I made them, and I didn't bring in a male character to be pushed aside or treated like an idiot. To make them seem better. And that seems to be what's going on now. I mean, this Hawkeye show, all of the Star Wars shows, they have male leads, but then this female character shows up and basically takes over and the male character's sidelined. I mean, that show Witcher, which I didn't watch, but I read about. I mean, Henry Cavill just got frustrated because his character was basically doing nothing. Yeah. He had no effect on the story whatsoever. these female characters were driving everything and taking up most of the screen time. I don't understand it. Why would you do that? I mean, why? Look at Disney. They spent $8 billion to buy Star Wars and Marvel in order to attract a male audience. And then they immediately make them into third wave feminism projects. Why would you do that? I mean, what's the sense of it? And then women don't want to see these movies.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, guys want to see them. And so what do they say that 68% of the audience for Marvel was guys?
Yeah.
You know, but the thing is that most guys don't want to see that movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it's such a bizarre thing, because to your point, like, your bread and butter, you've made and handled female characters. Even talking about like the ones that we've created here. And I just don't understand the idea here, right? Is that there's this character, often a male one, that these people love, right? And in order to say bolster up this other character that I want people to maybe like and enjoy, this sounds like the worst way to do it, is I'm going to have them either push aside, either telling a story that pushes them to a side, or literally have them do it. The main prominent male character. Someone brought this up in the chat about what this Blade movie was going to be about. It was the same thing, right? They said that it was reported that he was basically he was fourth place in his own like movie. That was how they were writing that. So it's very similar there, but it does seem to be how they feel like this is, I guess, to prop up these female characters, they must then crap on the prominent male character. I don't understand the logic. You do not absolutely have to do that. And you can build up characters that are female that are very interesting. If anything, this is going to make people despise your female character, because you're trying to sacrifice the character that people are already, let's say, attracted to, regardless of what gender they are. They're attracted to this character. They like this character. They're familiar with this character, and you're going to shit on them for the sake of propping up the other. And that's another way to make people despise them. You know, they hate that character now because they understand that you use them as a proxy. So if anything, seeing how what's happening in this new Scott Pilgrim thing, even if you do like the narrative isolated, I'm pretty sure somebody out there may, it's okay for what it is. At the end of the day, it's still a bait and switch. At the end of the day, they still did what we expect modern, from, I guess, these companies that are trying to make content for the modern audience. It's such a predictable thing. And I don't know of any place that it worked. Like, where has this worked? Where has this people said, by and large, that are fans of it, where have they said, yeah, this is what we wanted?
No, I mean, look at, the last Indiana Jones movie. They shove Indiana Jones aside for some annoying female. The other thing is they don't understand female human nature.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the first instinct of any woman you've ever met, any little girl you've ever met, when they see another woman attempting something fantastic, their first instinct is, who she thinks she is.
Yeah.
And if that female character doesn't earn that place, they're not going to buy it.
Yeah.
They're not going to buy it. They don't like Mary Sue's women don't like Mary Sue's any better than us guys do.
True.
And so I don't know what they're thinking. I mean, think about the movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Ferris Bueller, coolest guy in school. Movie's all about him. But there's a role for his sister.
Mm-hmm.
And his sister plays a pivotal role in that movie. And she gets some of the funniest scenes.
Yeah.
And so it's a balance. You have to find a balance, and you have to find a place for every character, be they male or female. They have to earn their place in that story. And more, we're seeing characters that they don't belong in these stories.
You're putting it perfect. And it's like, to earn their place in that story, and obviously to earn the admiration that they're going to get inevitably, well, maybe not so much, from the audience that's reading this. Like, it doesn't even matter if they're a male character. Like, you can't just force the issue. That's not how it works. I don't know if that's never been a recipe for it to say. You can't just say, hey, this character is awesome. And then that's just it. You'll walk away from it. And then, like, no, it doesn't work like that. Even with the male, hell, especially with the male characters, it doesn't work like that. So it's been interesting to think that this is what see writers, female or not, attempting to write the female character. And I talked about this with the Saska shout out there in the chat. And I was speaking about this when we just spoke with them about like modern female, the heroine or the modern female character, and how really modern day, as far as the writers have failed them. Like they failed them. And then instead of having the humility to understand that you're simply producing a product and creating a character that these people don't want, they then unfortunately lash out. And then they'll say, well, the problem is us.
Yeah.
It's the audience, and it's especially the men. Like those guys, they just can't handle strong female characters, misogynist, you know, going up and down the line of the modern talking points. And it's so, I don't understand how they think that makes sense, or how they're able to even get away with it. Like that just goes to show how arrogant and narcissistic these people are, because these female characters exist, right? And it's not like they started yesterday either, especially in comic books, right? It's like, you think that your character that you just presented to us is the first female character that we've ever seen, right? Are we just supposed to, I don't know, I guess they think this maybe is Men in Black, and we got hit with one of those joints and we just forgot, like the last several decades of female characters that have been created, that have been admired by the audience, that people love. They're hanging them on on their walls, and we're supposed to forget about all of that.
Right.
It's just when you came along, and because we rejected what the modern this modern bullshit, now all of a sudden we're misogynists.
Right.
The fuck? Like none of that makes any sort of sense. But that is of course the narrative that they run with. Now, yes, it's a cop out. It's just one of those things that they think, well, they don't want to face the fact that maybe they just created something that nobody actually wants. And therefore, their way of coping with that is to say, well, it's the audience that's the problem.
Yeah, I mean,
it's the issue.
It's insane. I mean, look at the first 4 Alien movies. Ripley is the center female character.
Mm-hmm.
We loved her.
Mm-hmm.
She earned her place in that story over and over and over again.
Absolutely.
She earned her place in that story. She wasn't just wonderful and fantastic, and everything she did was wonderful. And no, she proved to us. Characters like Lara Croft. I mean, hell, Michelle Rodriguez has made a career out of playing badass female characters who earned their place in the story. So, I mean, guys love that stuff. We love it. But we don't love it when we're told you have to like this.
Yep. That's
she's cool just because we said she's cool. No, you got to prove she's cool.
Facts.
You got to prove to me she's a badass, or I'm not going to buy it.
Facts. Absolute facts. Okay. A great point, by the way, Head Case Laboratory there. Orko the Great with another 10 gifted. That's 5. I know he's gifted a bunch more. I've been seeing him in the chat. He's gifted more. This is 15 up until now. This guy's going crazy. The other day, I think it was 100 and something that he had gifted throughout one stream. So welcome all. We're going to have a boatload of new emotes because we're hitting those thresholds. So thank you so much, Orko the Great. Before we continue on, if I can get some of the mods that are here, I don't know if who else is here, Carol or somebody that's here that can, maybe even Andrew, that can get the link to Chuck's channel and actually put that in the chat so people, because a lot of people, but you guys may not know, Chuck does have his own YouTube and he does some great, like, basically AMAs. They're asking you, people asking him questions, and he's doing a lot of good content surrounding that. So mods, if you could drop that in the chat there so people can follow. How's that been going on for you? Because I love those videos that it is. Ask Chuck anything. How's that been treating you?
It's been growing, a lot in the last few months. Both my association Rippaverse and I recently said a bunch of stuff, got myself in trouble, got some attention in other places.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's all thanks to the Alphacore too. I'm now referred to Alphacore writer Chuck DIXON in most of these articles. Like I just parachuted in, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm proud of that. But yeah, I've got a lot more subscribers and a lot more viewers in recent weeks. So thanks to all of you.
Shout out to all of y'all.
My little weekly tutorials and inside baseball information on comics.
There you go. And yes, y'all guys saw it. I appreciate you guys that are constant. I know ANCAP Gamer posted it 1,000,000 times, which is what we needed there. So thank you all for showing that. Make sure you click that, subscribe to him if you have not already. Bruce just said that we have 6,997 books sold. So we're 3 books away from hitting 17,000 books. Look,
Wow.
Chuck, if you can explain, you've been around the block, right? There are some people that don't understand just how big these books are. And obviously at the price point, hell, even in this day and age, if you sold 17,000 of a floppy, that'd be fucking massive. But
Right.
if you could kind of put that into perspective for these guys, that number, because again, this isn't normal.
Yeah, that's the most impressive thing about this. I mean, you look at the dollar amount, you look at the number of people and everything else, but I look at the number of copies sold, and these are really strong because, you know, we're doing trade paperbacks.
Yeah.
We're doing graphic novels. We're not doing floppies. And for volumes of this page length and price point to sell at these numbers, it's freaking amazing, especially from, you know, a truly independent publisher. You know, coming out of nowhere and selling these numbers is just amazing. This makes this not a flash in the pan. You folks are part of a movement.
Yeah.
You have voted with your wallets the kind of comics you want to read, and I'm just super impressed. I mean, you know, a lot of crowdfunders, they do well, but they don't do these numbers in this at this price point in these kind of volumes. So
shout out to y'all, man. That's insane, man. That just goes to show that this is not random. And you guys have shown a lot of love. We appreciate it. You're helping us build this sandbox, and we're all just having an absolute blast writing this. So thank you all.
We're also responding to a very clear message you've been sending over the years.
Oh.
So you've made it clear what your mission is, and you're fulfilling it. So
appreciate that,
literally and figuratively fulfilling this.
Yes, quite literally.
Quite literally.
Yes, appreciate that, man. Thank you. Thanks to all of you guys. Seriously, this has been wonderful, man. And we just got so many plans for the future, man. I can't wait for you guys to get a hold of some of that. Okay, let me see. Where am I at? I got that. I think that was Hell Alphacore, the great Chuck Dixon from Head Case Laboratory. Appreciate that. We got 5 gifted from New Bonitas. Appreciate that. We have Mr. Reese says, oh yeah, and more fan fiction says, Mr. Reese says, my favorite part of ISOM is when Lillian Renashi tells Michael Copper to check his white male privilege.
I heard that all day long at the Rippaverse warehouse.
Yeah, I know, right? That was everybody loved that part. Yeah, if which I would never do if you best believe if somehow Disney got a hold of Rippaverse products, that probably be in issue number 0 and the relaunch of the Rippaverse. If they had it. JM with a 20 says, if Marvel DC approached the Rippaverse with the intention of wanting to revamp their universes as a partial imprint, would you be willing to take them up on that offer or just give them the finger? No, first of all, there's no way that they could there's no amount of money that would make me do that, and I know they would never offer me enough for me to even consider the deal, because they probably look at it like they're doing us a favor. That's not happening. Look, what we built here, and I've been very clear about this, however far it goes, the buck's gonna stop with myself and the rest of the creatives here like Chuck. That's just what this is. I want to build this as far as you guys take it, with maintaining the independence that allows us to continue to, do stories it is that you guys want. And look, should the audience, we do a line or, imprint or whatever it is that people don't like and they reject, maybe that happens, whatever, that happens. But I want that to be on us. I don't want that to be on other people. And that's just kind of what this is. I've said this many times. We've made a lot here that gets reinvested into the company, but I've probably turned down more money than you guys even know, because yes, when you become like the hot commodity, a lot of people want to get their hands on it. And I think the vast majority of people that were in positions like me would have sold this asset off a long time ago and took the lump sum of money and just went into the kind of road into the sunset. This has been a lifelong dream of mine, and to be able to do it and do it on our own terms is more important. I wouldn't trade that in for anything else. There's no amount of money. You can't put a price point on that. You know what I mean? Like I'm not that hurting for cash, right? To where I would need to just sell it off. Like nobody could just throw out a number and I'd be like, oh yeah, we're going to do it. No. I also look at it like this. If someone is willing to offer me that amount of money, they somehow see the way that they can make it. So I need to be looking at it through that lens. Like, wait a minute, you think you can make 40, 50 million off of this product? Well, shit, I need to be seeing how I can make 40 to 50 million because you see something that maybe I don't. So that's the way that I see it. It'll never happen. We're gonna maintain ownership and we're gonna ride this thing. I mean, for as long as the customers are willing. That's just what this is gonna be. So thank you for that 20. I appreciate that. But also, I don't care about their own universes. I'm gonna be completely honest. Look, there's enough content around with back issues and all sorts of stuff that I couldn't possibly read all that in my own lifetime, probably if I had the time to do it. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I'm not necessarily interested in helping them out. Some would call me maybe a competitor here, and I just want to keep building. I want to keep building on our own terms. So that's the way that I see it. I know Chuck. I mean, Chuck I'll let him speak for himself and his approach because he's very much a part of. He's done stuff with the old guard, and he's very much a part, of this. So he's seen how this whole thing has gone down over the years. So I'll let him also give maybe his 2 cents on this comment as well.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, if they want to back a truckload of cash up to your house, there's probably a way you can make that on your own.
Exactly.
And maybe even double it because you'll be keeping all of it.
Yes,
and,
exactly.
When we used to do crossovers, when I was working at Marvel and DC simultaneously, and we were talking about intercompany crossover, first question from both publishers is, what's in it for me? What's in it for us?
Right.
And that's the question you would ask yourself. What's in it for you, Eric, is nothing, because they would want control.
Yeah.
They wouldn't say they would want control, but they would want control. And the only reason they would approach you is because they need the help. You don't need help.
True. Yeah, it's I could not imagine that. Like, definitely, I mean, hell, it would, if anything, go completely against who it is that I am. I mean, as an individual, right? Of all the stuff that I've talked about and having issues with remakes and live action adaptations and all of that, like, because I know that those guys would never do it justice, right? It never do it justice. So there's no way that I could, I had to see it through. So no matter, even if it does become something that is bad, whatever, like, at least I did it. You know what I mean? At least I was a part of it. At least I wrote the check for it. At least it was on me. So I could say, well, this was something that the audience didn't want it. And at least I had much to do with it. I could not live with myself thinking that, well, somebody else did the whole entire thing and I was just there. No, I just couldn't do it. I couldn't envision a world where it go down like that.
Yeah, even when I first started in this business, I always tell people I'm a long buck guy. I'm for the long dollar. I don't want a lot of money now. I want a lot of money over time.
Yeah.
So I'm not giving up control over anything. I'll tell you, I've been offered so many contracts where I just give away everything. And I was like, what are you, crazy?
No,
I'm giving away this. I'm letting you have this one thing for this period of time.
Yeah.
I'm not giving everything away, but they always ask for everything at once.
Yeah.
You never want to do that. You want to maintain control, and you can do it. Because once you give them a little tiny bit of control, that's it. You lost it.
Well, most definitely. I agree. And I'll be, transparent about this. To your point, I love that, this is, Saskia can speak to this as well. Mike can speak to it as well. We, with guys like yourselves that have been around the block, right? And I'm blessed to have you a part of this, this whole universe. And one of the economic issues it is that I've seen play out the way I've had a lot of economic problems, like with the industry. Like, I look at it like none of this stuff makes sense. And what I love is that we're able to structure within our kind of in our agreements. There's a lot of characters that you created, right, already. And the way that our stuff is managed is that Chuck's gonna, when we like this character appears X place, or we do a toy line, or we do whatever, guess who's gonna get paid for that? the guy that created them, right? Like he's gonna get his money off the back end, which that's how it should be, right? Like he created them. So I love that we're able to kind of correct those problems, because these are your ideas, man. You know, these are stuff that you come up with, and you deserve it. I mean, to be able to eat off of that forever. You know what I mean? As far as I'm concerned.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, the comic book work for hire idea is it's slavery. Is what it is, and and it's theft. And but you know, you're very generous with your participation terms with all these characters, which makes, you know, me and Joe and the other artists I'll get to work with, makes us more enthusiastic.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we got a piece of this. We got a piece of the action here. I mean, it's the difference between, when's the last time you saw anybody create a new Marvel character?
True.
Never. Not for 50 years.
No.
Why? Because Marvel gives you no participation.
No.
DC, they used to offer us a piece. Action figures, toys, underoos, whatever the hell it was, we got a piece of it. Lego, and we got a piece of it. And so you saw lots of new characters created at DC, because the creators are like, yeah, I want part of this.
Yeah.
And it gives you the freedom to create without thinking someday I'm going to be sitting in a movie theater crying.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm going to be the only guy crying. Everybody else is laughing.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think that's so like, that's such a real thing, man. And again, that was one of the things that I was like, look, man, we gotta, the guys that are here creating, we got to, it's capitalism, right? We all lean that way. It's incentive. That's human action. For those of you that know the great Ludwig von Mises. So you're gonna get the best out of these guys because of that. Like, they're not just creating for creative's sake, right? Where it's like, okay, I'm dropping a property off and there's nothing that, whatever happens, it happens. This is something that, you know, going into the future, 5 years from now, what happens? Like what Chuck's one of Chuck's kind of creation. People talk about Meth Gary. We'll continue to call him that because, you know, y'all don't know him, y'all haven't met him. That was his creation, right? So if I do a toy line, or Ripperverse does a toy line off Meth Gary, he's gonna get broke off for it, right? And you're gonna get the work, you're gonna get the best work from these people, because they know they're not just doing it just to do it, right? It's like, no, I'm gonna benefit from it. I'm going to actually benefit from it, and that's how it should be. And as a owner, as an entrepreneur, like, dude, that's you're gonna get the best work. Simple and plain. You're gonna get the best work. You're gonna get these guys' best foot forward, because they're not just doing it just to be doing it. And I want that to be how we approach business. I want to be how we approach working with other people, other creatives. I think that we're going to benefit the most from it, because we're going to get the best stories. We're going to get the best creative characters, because these guys know, look, if I do it, it's not like I just dropped them off and there was nothing. I got nothing out of it. No, you're going to get something out of it then, and then you're going to get something out of it should this become a hit, and we do other cool things as well. So, you know, again,
you're a long buck guy too.
Yeah.
You're thinking about longevity for this company. I can't tell you how many publishers I talk to, and we'll talk. They want me to do something. We'll talk page rates, deadlines, right? And I said, well, what's my royalty? Oh, we're not paying royalties. This is the one and done. I said, why don't you pay me royalties? We can't afford it. Royalties come out of profits.
Yes, exactly.
I said, if you don't make any money, you don't owe me anything. And that's on me. If you don't make any money, I'll take responsibility. But if you make a lot of money, I'm going to take responsibility for that too, and I want some of it.
Yeah, you should. Exactly. And you should get it like 100%. Like that's exactly how it should be. And anybody that's doing anything, you know, doing anything creatively, and like you're the head honcho. I'm just telling you this from my own individual experience. You just, by allowing your creatives to be creative people and rewarding them in success, you're gonna get the best out of them, and you're gonna get the best out of them. So that should be your approach. Again, if I can offer anybody any advice on that, and that's just that was my philosophy. And the reason why I can understand that is because I was a creative myself. You know what I mean? Like, I am a creative myself, and I've been this way for a very long time. So I understand when people are getting shafted. And I don't want that for myself, and I wouldn't especially want that for people that are working under me. I want to give them within reason, the best possible deals that they can get where everybody benefits. I believe that there is a perfect world there where everybody can benefit, right? And to your point, like you said, like when you're talking about royalties and bonuses and stuff like that, that's stuff you get when you win, right? Like, so when you win, like everybody wins. So that's the way that I approach it, and I think that's how everybody else should.
Hell, you were in the music business. They're the rip-off kings. They're legendary,
man. Like that. Chuck,
the people in Hollywood bow down to the music business. How they're able to rip off creatives.
Chuck, that's where I got. I know where how it feels to be screwed, coming from music industry and understanding everything that that I know. Trust me, I took a lot of just foundational approach with this company. Came from my understanding of the music industry and my experience in the music industry, and just understanding how shit doesn't make sense. And I'm not gonna try to make it make sense when it doesn't make sense. I'm just gonna not do it. That's just how I see it. Like there's a world where the creatives can benefit, and we're seeing that. This is proof that this is the case. So again, big shout out to you, JM. We got 5 for JR. Said, do you prefer open world slowly, and how do you prefer to open the world slowly, and how do you notice fans wanting more quickly? Great question. I'll answer it. I'm gonna let Chuck answer it as well. It's funny, we were just talking about it in this last little segment. Forward thinking, and we're thinking not just now. We're playing a long game, and in my experience, most of the time, and yes, there may be some outliers, but most of the times, the people that are actual genuine customers care more about the long game than the person that's just on the outside looking in. So while as something as simple as like with ISOM, right? You didn't get a just information dump on everything it is that he could do on the first issue, right? And some people from the outside looking in that were never really interested in this stuff, they look at that as a problem, right? Because for whatever, I don't know if it's the TikTok world or whatever, it's the short-term like gains and it's a short attention span. We need to get everything out immediately. And the people that are here, though, they've never had a problem with that, and they understand. Because I'm not writing with just this year in mind or this book in mind. I'm writing like, well, what happens when this character is 5 years old, 10 years old, 15 perhaps, right? Am I still going to be able to put this character in an intriguing environment? Or did I was so quick to rush to tell everything? Have I now screwed myself and I wrote myself in the corner, and maybe I'm pulling a George R.R. Martin or whatever, and I done wrote myself into a complete fucking corner. And then I have to rely on gimmicks, right? I don't want to be that guy. And so to answer your latter half of the question, no, fans, I not really know. Again, maybe some outliers, but for the most part, fans are in it for the long term, and they really don't want everything given to them, and they especially don't want you to hold their hand through it. So when I have like a detractor, idiot say, well, you didn't say this, and that. And even if I actually did, I just didn't like have the character literally tell you. We showed you more than we told you. Our fans are able to pick that stuff up because they're actual readers. And maybe again, outsiders, they would prefer just to get through it immediately. But I'll let Chuck speak to this as well. He's been in this game way longer than I have.
Yeah, I mean, it's called exposition, where you're informing the reader about what's going on or reminding them about characters and things like that. And that's where writing fiction turns into an art form, because you've got to do that in a way that doesn't feel like you're being told the stuff.
Yeah.
You're telling a story without the reader aware that they're reading a story. So they sort of forget and they become involved in the series of events. So you show the world by the events that happen. And it's not a problem. You know, maybe you're going to leave a few people behind. Maybe there's going to be some unanswered questions. But that's the beauty of especially long form stuff like comics.
Yeah.
I mean, when they created Superman, they didn't answer all the questions.
True.
Those questions were answered over decades. How's he cut his hair? How's he shave?
Yeah.
Why doesn't his cape get holes in it when they shoot bullets at it?
Yeah.
All these questions that were answered over time, because if he answered them all up front, why bother reading it?
True.
So and the other aspect is you're exploring this world with us. We're just a couple of steps ahead of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, we're building it as we're building the end of the street as you just turned onto the avenue.
Yep.
So and that's cool. That's an energy. And we share that energy with you, the reader. because you're going to tell us what you like, what you don't like, what
Yep.
you want to see more of, and we're going to respond to that. We're going to meet your expectations and exceed your expectations because that's our job.
Most definitely. And to piggyback on that, and someone mentioned this in a chat, and I see it. That's the nerd fun speculating, and I see that stuff. I love it. I mean, I love it so much, man. And when I see you guys having the theories, we see that in our gilded chats, and I see these people like, I think this and that. And that to me used to be what comics was about, especially when I was young. Like it was us. Oh, what would happen in this given scenario? If this character was in that scenario, what would happen? And having theories about how they would act and what they would do, and all that's used to be what this stuff is about.
Yep.
I do think that does speak to more of maybe with some of the cultural changes that we've had, especially in the West. Because I don't think manga, the Japanese really don't have this problem, right? That's not nobody. I mean, you got One Piece, funny. How many freaking volumes in are we of that? 1,000 and something like it. It's insane. Like and nobody cares. Like we still don't know what the hell is the One Piece. Like there's still these questions that people are asking. We're learning more about Luffy and his capabilities over time. Like that's not a problem that they deal with. This may be more of a cultural thing, especially in the West. And again, I don't know if that's what TikTok had and that generation has a lot to do with it, where it's all about the short term and trying to do as much as you can within the shortest period of time. And I just also say this as a businessman, I don't think that works. I think that's especially with comics, that's not what you do with the medium. Like you're keeping in mind the long term, not the short term. So,
well, a lot of this attitude I think comes from gamers because gamers want all their questions answered.
Yeah,
because they can't build a game and they'll say, if you haven't done this yet, you just said you haven't worked with RPG or any of that stuff, top games, but I have. And you create a property, and then they bring in the people to design the game, and you get questionnaires. You have to fill out you have to answer page after page after page after page of questions that weren't answered in the comic itself.
Yeah.
So you a lot of times have to invent things on the fly just so the gamers can fill in details on the game. So I think some of it is that.
Good point. That's a good point. Great question there, JR, man. I appreciate that. And by the way, we've officially, and I saw that message come in from Andrew, we've hit over 7,000 in total. 17,000 in total books sold. So we appreciate that. We are now under 6,000 away from the $1 million mark. So over 17,000 books sold. Appreciate that. If it keeps at this rate, today will be the day that we hit $1 million. So thank you all so much for the love and support. Just wanted to give you guys an update on that as we're going through the super chats. We got Santosh Perry with a 5 Canadian says, sent you an email again. You're the guy that has worked on some gaming stuff. I keep forgetting to do that. I got to put that in my notes to run that down. Carol, is she here? If Carol is here, if we can run that email down for me, and I need to respond to that. It says, your producer will Respawn, and thank you for everything, Chuck and Ripperverse. Appreciate that
Thank you
so much. Thank you so much. All right. Suspects 3 months. Appreciate that. We got Riddles of Steel with a 5. Just read ISOM, and I'm excited about Yaira, Alphacore, and Gooding. But I'm gonna need that Norfolk #1. A lot of people are waiting for that. Riververse needs some demon slaying rock gods. I've heard you guys. Trust me, ever since ISOM 1, I know you guys love that introduction of them. Created a lot of mystery out of that. I've heard you loud and clear. I'll just say that much. I have heard you loud and clear. So Anzac with a 5 says, huge fan of you both. Just turned 60 and you both got me back into comics. Says Anzac with a 5.
Oh, I love hearing that.
Me too, man. I absolutely love it. That's what it's about. So shout out to you, man. Glad that you could get back into the medium, and hope you keep exploring. We have Dan Crane with 14 months says, Hell Lord Ripper and the legendary Chuck Dixon. Shout out to you. Yes, the absolute.
Back at you.
Absolutely. Evan with 38 months, a long time becoming a member or being a member. Thank you so much. Alexander with a 5. Love to see it. Creators create. Glad the Riververse puts the important things first. I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. Fedagan with a 2 with a super sticker. I wish I could see what that was, but I missed that. Appreciate that. Got Paquette Albert Gabriel with a 20 Canadian. Says, I don't know how you did it, but for ISOM 1, it would have cost me 130 to 140 and tax to get it to Canada. Now it costs me 66 for Alphacore 1 and ISOM 1. That's a good deal in my book. Appreciate that. Well, it's a couple of things that have happened there. One, we've just more logistic stuff. We have, with our success, been able to negotiate. Let's just say that. In very creative ways that is going to only benefit you guys as the customers, because you know a lot of shipping, its price is getting pushed down to you. So we've gotten better rates, top to bottom, even with our printing, and you guys are going to reap benefit from that, and it's going to bring the price down for shipping a book to you. So we're doing everything it is that we can to do that. So thank you so much. I see you, Carol. Appreciate that. 20 from you. Thank you, Albert Gabriel, Mr. Albert Gabriel. Thank you. Head case with a 2 said, hope Darren gets a new strong except for Club Merc. Okay. Perhaps you'll have to read ISOM 3, which we're well into that. Appreciate that. Angela with 32 months. I love the Riververse. Keep the books coming. You got it.
Yep.
Orko the Great with another 20 gifted subs, memberships.
Wow.
That is, yeah, this guy's going crazy. That is what total, that 45, if I'm not mistaken, 30, 45. Appreciate that. Thank you, man. Orko the Great, man, you're crazy. Albert with a 5 says, hey, River, just letting folks know is tomorrow's International Men's Day. Badger live streams will probably be doing something related to that. Albert, good to see you here again, by the way. And shout out to you. I did appear on those live streams not too long ago, so shout out. Saron Almighty with a 20 gifted. And right after Orko the Great did the same, here comes Saron Almighty with a 20 gifted memberships. So appreciate that. Thank you so much. You are crazy. And he also did another gifted 5. This guy's fucking crazy. Orko the Great. He's insane. Thank you so much there. What else we have? Kuaku with becoming a member. We have Mark with a 5 says, could you check ICV2 top 20 superhero graphic novel sales for last month to compare adult graphic novels too, if you would? Last month was, so that was October. Let me see. I don't know if they put those. Have they? I don't think they've released those yet. Maybe they have not. Maybe I can. No, they have. They have. I don't see the actual units sold though. By you. Oh, yes, they do have it. Hold on just a second. Actually, let me look at it real quick. That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know what all is going on with them. So I'm trying to. Oh, that's right, because I'm using my wrong password there. I'd imagine that it's pretty competitive, but we'll see. Yeah, for sure it is. It has to be. But let's let me check it out real quick.
I mean, I know the numbers. I get quarterly statements myself from DC and Marvel. So
there you go. I
know these are competitive numbers.
Okay, so looking at them right now. I just pulled it up. Yeah, I don't think they're available yet. I do see Saga's back up there. Saga and Reckless is back up there at 1 and 2, but that's by. I don't see the units though. Yeah, they don't have the units there yet. They just have the price. They probably will. They usually put that stuff out. I'm surprised that they didn't. Maybe they did it for. Let's see, September maybe. 2 graphic novels. Let's check it out. I'm actually intrigued.
Yeah, I'm curious too.
Yeah. Let's see. So top 100. Yeah, they don't have it. They don't have it by units. They just have it ranked by units, but they don't have the actual unit sales on this list. When I get them, I'll see. I know 17,000 is probably number one. To be completely honest, it has been in previous months, so it's more than likely number one. But I'll get a definitive answer when I do a little more digging. So that's a good. I appreciate that. We got Wraith with a 5 said you should do a series of animated Riververse shorts without voice actors, but keep the music and sound effects in order to keep the cost down. The voice acting isn't the cost, believe it or not. The voice acting is cheaper. The animation is going to cost what it's cost.
Yeah.
At that point, you might as well do the voice acting. So,
Right.
yeah, you know, the animation is going to be where most of the cost is in. So perhaps, but you know, we got to keep justifying that with just our sales. Raleigh with a 5 says, is it just me or do the big dogs in both comics and feel they're entitled to an audience? No, it's not just you. They absolutely do, which is why a lot of them start to lash out. They start to get angry once it's been rejected by an audience. But this is the thing. Their psyche is this. You got to live up to them, right? It's not them trying to convince you to buy the product. It's if you're good enough, you'll buy the product. That's how they view you. It's unfortunate, but it's a lot of narcissism. That's definitely, especially in Hollywood. That's why it's the way that it is. I don't know if you had anything you wanted to add to that.
Well, yeah. I mean, Disney recently made an official statement that they're going to recommit themselves to quality. Well, why did you ever fail to commit yourself to quality? I mean, you know, you're the freaking Walt Disney Company.
Yeah.
Walt committed himself to quality even when he lost money. It was the product has to be good. I don't care if I'm losing money. We'll make it up on the toys.
Yeah.
You know, but it's got to be good.
Yeah.
And they just went to quantity. We just got to crap stuff out because, oh, they love everything we do. Well, they don't. Not one Disney Plus show, not one has been in the top 10 streaming shows.
No.
And yet they talk about their big hits and everybody's watching them. And nope, nobody's watching them.
That's true.
Relatively.
Yeah,
So.
that's true. Carol with a 5 says, I need Alphacore to hit 5 million so I can have released the Eric sketch. We got a ways to go. I know everybody wants that damn sketch, but we got a ways to go before y'all will be able to see that abomination. So appreciate that, Carol. Love to see you here. Everybody's working. It's the weekend. Nathan with a 5 says, how many books are being worked on at the moment? Shit. I just greenlit 3. So it's hard to say, but of the ones that you know, it would be, you know, Yaira 2 is coming. So I can say that, but the others are being completed. I guess you can throw Mike Barron's Gooding, the polymath in there.
Me and Joe are working on.
Yeah, y'all got some projects too as well that Chuck and Joe are working on. So there's a bunch of stuff. There's a bunch of stuff that's in the works. How many? I did the math on this not too long ago. I can't remember. It's like damn near 8 or something like that. That's it. You got Item 3, throw that in there, right? So you got it's so many. It's so many. And then that's not even to mention the ones that aren't announced, right? So yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot that we got working on here. So it's quite.
Joe and I are cooking up something this week. Eric hasn't even seen it.
Yeah, exactly. So there's all sorts of stuff that's in the works right now. We're a full-fledged publisher at this point, and we're just gonna keep it coming. So there's that. We have Evolution with 7 months says, hey, I want to ask how much involvement did Chuck have in the Alphacore trailer? Was he the one who directed, considering he has written it? All right, well, what his involvement is the characters that he created. So you saw 2 of them, if I'm not mistaken, that are in there. Yeah, two characters that are in there, and those are not random scenes. Okay, so keep that in mind as you watch that. We just didn't put random shit in the trailer. Right. This is stuff that is giving you perspective on the book. All right. So there are a couple of characters that are in there, and the story itself surrounding that was all Chuck's idea. As far as the like actual structure of the animation, I wrote it. Marcos helped storyboard it. So yeah, that's about it. But I'm writing it with it in mind that I've already saw what Chuck did. So I'm looking at it from that perspective of as I'm writing it. So Chuck was very much a part of that process, and that those were scenes that he specifically created. So all right, continue on. We got Wedge with a 10 says, greetings. Any advice on finding an artist for one story? Looking for an old school style artist like Bernie Wrightston or Michael Golden. Any input is greatly appreciated. Look, there's a lot of creative people out there that are wanting to do awesome things, especially artists looking for work. They're out there. Connect with them. I would even say go to our fan art stuff. There's a lot of guys that are professionals that were participating in that. Maybe you see something that you like. So if you go to riververse.com, you can link up with some creatives there. We have all the credits there. Look them up and maybe get in contact with them and finding a artist there. But they're out there. There is no shortage of guys that are looking for work right now. I don't know if Chuck has any insight on that as well.
You got a lot of underemployed comic artists out
Yes.
there, both established professionals and guys just getting started. So there's a lot of guys out there looking to collaborate.
Yep, there you go. There you go.
Gals, I should say too.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, we have where am I at? Alaric with a 10 says, thanks, Ripper, for standing up for comics fans. I first discovered your channel with your first Captain Marvel review, calling out the crazy woke BS that is now backfiring on woke. Yeah, it's funny watching some of the stuff that I made even like 5 years ago. And like, I remember getting so much backlash on it. And now even the people that will give me backlash have come around. I was like, yeah, this is fucking crazy. So it's fun to go back and watch some of that shit because, you know, it wasn't just me, obviously. There's plenty of us that were ahead of this because you can argue that a lot of this stuff started to infest the comic book industry, maybe perhaps first, before we really started to see it manifest itself in other entertainment industries. Comics got plagued, if you will, especially in the 2010s. There's a lot of bullshit going on there, and some of us are ahead of it. So, where am I at? Got a 20 from King Sigma, no message. Shout out to you, thank you. A 2 from Sound Engraver says, thanks always for your inspiration. Well, I appreciate that. And shout out to you. Who wrote the music for the trailer? Rock Sound Engraver. I'm actually gonna have there's a video that we're gonna do talking about that. I'm gonna give you a lot of information and insight on the composition, if you will. So be on the lookout for that. Joking Lee with a 5 says, Chuck, will you be on set for the filming of 11's Trade? I got the first 6 books.
Well, thank you for that. But I was thinking about that this week because my sons were saying, you think they'll want you on set because you're the writer? And I'm like, you got 2 Academy Award winning writers already on set. I don't think they're going to need me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't think so. I don't think I'll be there. And I heard making movies is boring anyway.
Yeah. So. There you go. We got Steel Leg of History with 16 months. I can't be more grateful. Love to see you here, by the way. Steel Leg of History says, I can't be more grateful for all the folks I meet here. My sister's on her way to drop off the items I got. And what Bruce and CJ, well, shout out, sent to my nephew. Yes, man, you've been getting some material from a lot of the fandom, and I love to see it. I've been keeping tabs on it. So shout out to you, Steel Leg of History. That's what fandom is all about. I'm glad that, you know, this fandom is just produced some great kind of interactions, man, and we see it all. So thank you so much, man. Love to see you here. I'm glad to hear that. Mark Zimmer with a 5 said, I know you specifically said Polymath was a graphic novel, but aren't 1 and 2 in Alphacore considered graphic? Well, yes. What I mean by correct, you're correct there. But what I mean in a traditional sense with Polymath, because it's not a number 1, right? It's not an ongoing series that we plan to do more stories out of, you know, years to come. Will he get his own? Perhaps. We'll see how you guys respond to this. Goodig is one of the characters that was a sleeper character. So let us pick up some more data on that, and then for sure we'll maybe go that route. And I love have Mike continue to do that. So it's not an ongoing series, is what I mean when I say that. Like what we plan to do with Yaira and Alphacore and Isom and some of these other characters it is that we'll eventually announce very, very soon. So yeah. With 5 from Mark Henry says, if so, does that mean is a even bigger book? Says 200 pages also, will we be getting an omnibus of the ill-advised arc? Perhaps yes on the latter. I think that's a no-brainer, that we would maybe plan some sort of collection there. But it's a similar size that the other works are, but it serves as kind of its own thing. When you actually read the story, you're going to understand it. But it's not a number one, so don't look at it like it's an ongoing series. Just look at it more like it is a single story per se, and it's a very important one. Let's just say that. So Mike knows what the fuck he's doing, and really, a lot of that is his recommendation on that. A lot of that was me talking with Mike. I was like, what do you think the approach should be here as far as you to do your best work? And he was more like, hey, let me give me a one shot, and let's take it from there. So that's what we did. So great question. By the way, there, Marcus Hammer, we love to see you there. So I got a question for you, Chuck, because I got this comment the other day, and considering your industry and how you've bounced around, and yes, you've created these legendary characters. Matter of fact, let me see if I can pull this up real quick. I'll pull it up. Now, I don't hate this person I want to be very, very clear, for making this comment at all. Okay. This is a very fair assessment. People get here for different reasons. I've had people say this for many years. I've been doing this 18 years, man. And you saw people that came for me for the music, came for me for X reason, Y reason. And I wanted your perspective on this, because this person says that they were losing interest because every other video, which even though the last like 9 videos I've done, not the last 9 videos, but over the last 9 days, I've done like 10 videos that have been non-Rippaverse related. But when people know you for a certain thing, even if it's like an individual creation for you, like Bane, right? People know you for that. But you got other things it is that you have going. How has it been dealing with that? Because you have people that have that expectation, right? That they want you, maybe they found out about you from doing this, and then that's all they come to you for, right?
Right.
How have you navigated that? I mean, you've created so many different characters of various different genres, especially. How have you been able to handle that people know you? Maybe they know you as Charles Dixon because of what you did with Hobbit and all that stuff. Versus Chuck, how have you kind of navigated that?
Well, I mean, because I love the comic book medium, and I love the characters too, but first and foremost, I just love comics, any kind of comics. I never specialized. I was never just wrote superheroes. I just wrote horror, and I think that's why I'm still here. And a lot of other comic writers, they're not here because they wrote one kind of thing. I'm more flexible because I love the medium. If it's Alphacore or SpongeBob SquarePants, I have the same enthusiasm. It's a challenge to create entertaining material in this medium. So my audience is more probably diverse.
That makes sense.
In the real sense of the word diverse. It's because I write novels and I write all different comic genres, and I have followers in all of them.
Makes sense.
And it keeps it interesting for me. So
fun,
I mean, I don't feel I'm leaving anybody behind. I'm providing enough material for everybody in whatever genre they like.
I like that. That makes sense. And that's quite the perspective. And for me, I've had my hand in a million things, music and doing the commentary stuff, and now we have our own company and everything. And I can understand why that may be a little unique, right? Because at least from my experience, just because there are those that came to me because I created, right? It would either be with music or whatever it was. And that was actually my first big break. That was how people found out about me. It was through music, right? That's how I got my first, thousands of subs on YouTube doing music. So there was a window of time where I wasn't as creative. I'll be the first to say that, where it was more of just commentaries, talking on what everybody else was doing, as opposed to creating, even though I think we got proof, Rippaverse is proof that, hey man, I should be creating, right? That doesn't mean you can't say your bit but creating is what God, I believe, put me on this earth to do, right? Because I'm getting the most blessings when I'm doing it. So if someone came to me from that era, right, where it was only like maybe a 2-year block, right, maybe like 2019 to 2000, like 21, maybe, like it was a block, and if they found out about me during that, and that's all they came to me for, I can see, I guess, where they're like, okay, well, this is a little different. But I would argue, and I have argued a million times this, how I got to the place that I am in is because I've delivered on the various things that I was creating, no matter when it was, whether it was early on where it was like I was in the hip hop scene, whether it was in the metal scene, metal and rock stuff, post-hardcore scene, whatever that scene was, always delivered on it, made sure that whatever the project was, I did what I said I was going to do, and I did it to the best of my abilities, right? And I built this audience over the years, and I think a lot of them they cross over, right? And maybe even sometimes, there's a lot of these people you get these people that, oh man, I saw your cover. It has 11 million views on YouTube. I didn't even know that was you because, they knew me from something else. Maybe it was the Riververse that they got introduced to me. So I don't find it necessarily difficult to juggle. It's just that, I've seen the most blessings from creating, and the Riververse hands down is the most success that I have ever seen in my life. And I've had my successes, nothing to this degree. So I should be doing it more often than anything else. But there's cool things, and this will make. So I'm not going to snitch on myself here, because there's a lot of stuff that I'm working on. You guys will see that there are ways to tie in some of the things that you know me from into the Riververse, so you can still get that. We got our little toes in both. That'll make sense. I think you see Riververse 3 years down the line. That type of stuff will make sense of what it is that I'm saying. So, but I get it. Some people, maybe if you knew me for is commentary and that was it, and you came through in that window where that was for the most part exclusively what I did for a while. I wasn't creating a whole lot. I get it. So.
Well, the thing is, to be brutally honest about all this, comics is a niche market. It's a very small market.
Yeah.
Now you came from music, much bigger market.
Yeah.
And you came from the commentary thing and you got people interested. So if you started with comics, you wouldn't have the success you have now, because you know how hard it is to reach an audience in this internet medium. And so you reached an audience, and then you did the comic thing. So you did it in exactly right order. I mean, you look at, your boy Zach. I mean, he didn't jump into doing comics. He did pop culture commentary.
Yeah.
An audience went to comics. Ethan Van Sciver.
Yeah.
Most of the people watching him are watching him not because he was a comic book god, but because he comments on the culture.
Yeah. Commentary stuff.
You got to get out of your own neighborhood. So if it's just comics, it's tough to sell. But if you build an audience, as you've proven, and deliver as you've proven,
you got to deliver.
It's there. The audience is there.
Yeah, and like I said, if you deliver, it's easier for people. If you do want to do something new, it's easier for them to follow you, per se, even if it's something that may be new to them. Okay, even if it's something that you do, and let's say this new fan or this new venture it is that I do, maybe I was always with it, maybe they weren't, maybe this person knew me from music and maybe they never read a comic book in their life. That person is more likely to follow me to do that if I'm actually delivering on it, right? And that has been so helpful to me, and it's why I am so interactive, because I know how valuable that had been for me with like the other stuff it is that I did. So when it was very easy for me to cross over and do commentary stuff from doing music, because I had that audience, right? It was like, hey, they heard me, they knew I could write some lyrics, they knew I'd have my head on my shoulder. So when I started talking about stuff, it was like, it was good, so it's one of those things that I can see where it can be difficult to juggle for some people, but for me, it worked out. It worked out, and I'm glad it happened the way that it did, because the Riververse proved that I'm supposed to be creating. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. So yeah. We have Tupac with a 5 said, "What's up, Ripper? What's up?" We got Garfield's with a Bizarre Adventure with a 5 says, "Which character in comics has gotten the most disrespect from their owners, creators? For me, it's Punisher." Oh, you're talking about Conway there. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I don't. That's a hard one to answer.
Well, I mean, yeah, I can't. I mean, the Punisher, that set a precedent. I've never seen anything like that in my life.
Yeah,
Where a licensor, they own the character, just literally destroyed it. Did everything they could to ruin a character, and basically call anybody who liked the character, the most vile name.
Fascist and everything.
So I don't think there's any other character comes close to what they did to Frank Castle.
Yeah, and it seems so blatant, right? It was like these guys weren't hiding it, and I made this point. It was pretty obvious. They didn't like who liked Punisher.
Yep.
Right. So it was spiteful. Let's just call it what it was. And they figured if we tear these down, we're getting this character down, we're getting at our ideological enemy. And that is so fucking bizarre.
Yeah, I mean they hate the Punisher and they hate you for liking the Punisher.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think it started when that American Sniper movie came out. And it was brought out to the public that Chris Kyle had the Punisher symbol, all over the place. And I think that's when they thought, well, we don't like this guy. He kills America's enemies.
Yeah.
And we don't like this guy, and we don't like anybody who likes him. So that's when it really began to tear Frank Castle down.
Yeah, makes sense.
But over the years, they've never. It's Mike Barron, it's me, it's Garth Ennis. We were the only ones who got this character.
Yeah, it's a fact, and it's awesome to have two guys that know that character here. We're at the Ripperverse, so thank you. If nothing else, Professor X with a 4 months is considering the pace y'all are putting out content. I think I need an extra savings account to make sure I got the funds available when new stuff drops. Happy to do it. Keep up the great work. Well, we're going to keep being competitive with our pricing. And look, the books ain't going nowhere with our release, like not just our schedule, but how we do things. The book will always be there. So you can still get ISOM 1. You can get it new. It may be the mass print cover, but you can still get it. Same with ISOM 2. Same's going to be with Alphacore. So we'll have the books around for you to be able to get. So if it's one of those things like, hey, I got a lot going on this couple of months, you can just come right on back and we'll still have you. We'll still have your book. So
yeah, there's no reason for anything to ever go out of print.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. That was the approach. I get it. People want to do this whole collector stuff, and I think there's a way. I think we're doing it a perfect way. It's like, all right, we do have the limited covers, so there, that exists. But fuck, dude, if you want the book, why not the actual publisher being able to provide it with you? That just makes the most sense. No matter when that is the case, that makes the most sense. It's not so obvious to others though. So.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, you got major comic book publishers who let things go out of print.
Yeah,
that are evergreen. They should always be in print.
Agreed. Dragon Ron, appreciate that. Becoming a member, we got Marcus here with a 5 says, I get what the commenters complaint. Maybe they don't have interest in comics at all. It's a downside of being in so many different things. Perhaps, maybe that is. I mean, like I said, that person, I believe, wanted the commentary more so than anything, like definitely the political stuff. And it's like, yeah, man, that's especially that stuff can get exhausting, man. I do stuff with Blaze. I talk about that shit quite literally every day. I feel like, yeah, let me create. There's a place, the time and place for it. I think I picked my spots pretty good. Like I just talked about the fraud of January 6th. Just yesterday, actually, last night I talked about it. So I try to pick my spots, but yeah, if they don't have interest in that, that's fine. They can stick around for that specific content when I do pick my shots. There's nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah, it's like when Rush Limbaugh would talk about football. Get back to politics. Yeah. I don't even follow football, but he makes it interesting. I'm enjoying hearing what he has to say.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Exactly. And Zach, soon enough, man, let us build our catalog here, as we're trying to do. And Zach, I appreciate that 5. There will be a lot of opportunities there. Scott with a 5 says, picked up a copy of Black Widow No Restraints Play due to your recommendations some time ago. First non-ISOM comic in decades. Thank you for the quality books. Yes, that is by the great Saskas that are here. No Restraints Play. So shout out to you for grabbing that. You can get that if you guys wanted to get warmed up for Yaira. But holy shit, that is like the best Black Widow that you're probably gonna and they're never write a stuff. Fucking Black Widow going to take it to a bunch of fucking pedophiles. It was crazy that they even got it approved. They talk about this all the time, that it was too late before they could like knock it down. It was too late. It was too far along the line. So they snuck that one through.
Yeah, all the pedophiles in the industry were horrified.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So they snuck that through. But shout out to all of y'all for grabbing that. I know they appreciate you, and that's a good way to get maybe warmed up for Yaira, number 1. Mark's here with a 5 said, on the opposite end, you have gotten me into comics. Riververse was my first. Normally, I'm a manga guy. Oh, well, shout out. Just ordered Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin. That's one of the ones that's always in the top of graphic novels. Says, I love it here. Well, I'm glad you're here, Marcus Henry. I'm glad you're back. You're like into the medium of comics. I love that. So shout out. So we got 2 from JS Pena. We got says hope to see Kaiju in the Ripperverse. Says JS.
Oh man,
Pena.
Joe Bennett sees that.
Yeah, Joe. Yeah,
we're
Joe
gonna be
Bennett
talking again behind your back, Eric.
Yeah, I know, right? And then next thing you know, we have another Joe booking. Hell, I'm fucking for it. I'm here for it. Shit. I'm sexy and I know it. With a 20 says, these people in the mainstream don't understand that they are missing something that cannot be bought by dumping money into a pile of garbage. Lack of real enthusiasm and trust is killing their IPs. Can't wait for Alphacore. Well, yeah, I mean, hell, it's even with some of the indies, like you're seeing that where, yeah, there's a lack of trust. That's where you got to deliver on what it is that you promise. And there's also this lack of enthusiasm where people aren't actually stoked on it. And yeah, that can't be bought. That's not one of those things that you can try to fake. Yeah, a lot of these old properties are riding on old properties, and that's it. That's all they got. If those didn't exist and you didn't have the guys like the Chucks that have done all this work over the years, people wouldn't even give it a fucking time of day. So I think what we have here is genuine enthusiasm. People talking about this stuff that they want to be great. They absolutely want to be great, and they want you to be great. And we're creating a sandbox so everybody can get in and be great. And that's, you're seeing that payoff by people talking about it constantly, showing real, just being actually so stoked about it. That's what this genre was missing. This industry was missing. And I'm glad that we can provide it here, so shout out to everybody that's getting in on it. All right. We have a few more here. Hot Dice, 4 months has been riding since the political commentary days. Found a brother from another. I buy my reader because I'm interested. I buy the slabs because I believe. Well, shout out. We're glad you're getting those CGC copies that recently sold out. Chuck's recently sold out. So, yeah, shout out there. Sounded great with a 5-year. Diversity of creative talent will serve you for sure. I'm looking to do the same with different artistic endeavors. Keep it up. Never doubt. Well, thank you so much for that. And yeah, I'm having fun because I get to do that, because I get to say, hey, there's an idea, I conceptualize it, I get to try to make it make sense and produce it. That's what you guys have allowed me to do. So thank you so much. Hawato with a 6. Appreciate that. Also with another one says, hey, Ripper, can you put a word in the videos that are reposts from live streams, like the drinker uses the word chasers, please, and thanks. I mean, I can think of it. Try to make those. Usually if they have this format, they're coming from a live stream. Just really count on that. If I do them like in my studio, then they're doing, there's something else. Okay, so let me go over here real quick. Share that. There we go. Refresh it. So we are almost at 990. We're almost at 995,000 in total sales. We're over 17,000 books sold. We very may what we'll see. Maybe by the end of the day we hit 1 million. That
Yeah,
will
I
be
think so. At this pace, yeah.
at this pace. It just might hit 1 million. If you have not pre-ordered, it's pinned at the comment. Before we get out of here, I'm gonna have, of course, as I always do, have Chuck. I'm gonna have you do a final pitch as we kind of look through this stuff and the interiors, telling people about Alphacore and why they should get Alphacore #1.
Well, I mean, Joe and I had a lot of fun doing it, and for me, that always translates to fun for the reader. And like I said, it's superheroes the way you like them. I've told Eric this before. These are blue sky comics. There's optimism.
Yep.
There's true heroism. There's the marked line between good and evil. These aren't heroes who are screw ups or as we discussed earlier, pushed out of their own stories.
Yeah.
The woke characters can take the stage.
Yeah.
None of that's going to happen here. It's a superhero action story. It's a police thriller. And there's a lot of twists and turns, some awesome villains that Eric gave me to play with, and then I created a whole bunch of new villains to bring on stage. So, and the artwork you've seen here from Joe, I mean, this is just
unbelievable.
This book gets seriously nuts. Like in the last 20 pages, it just goes crazy. So summertime popcorn blockbuster kind of action at the end of the story.
There you go. So yes, shout out Joe. Man, he did just such a phenomenal job on this. As you guys see some of the interiors there, and you'll learn more about the story. We're going to start shipping those. Fulfillment start date is on the 4th of next month. We're probably going to hit 1 million maybe by the end of the day, and we'll still have a little over 2 months left to go. And you guys are going to start getting your books in a few weeks, and we're going to see those reviews, which will, of course, have more sales because people that maybe were on the fence, they're for sure going to buy in thanks to the word of mouth. So we appreciate each and every one of you guys that have been showing love as we are almost at 995,000. We thank you so much. Let me get that. Man, JR with a 5 says, if the Rippaverse hires a DEI officer, will Chuck have to dye his hair blue to keep writing for the River? Well, we would have long been compromised by then. If we get an officer, a DEI officer, that isn't Ryan Kennel, by the way. If we get a DEI officer, hell, I would have had to dye my hair blue probably, by the way. And I would have, if that's the case, then it's not me, it's a cyborg that is now owning the Riververse. So that
you bring in a commissar, I'm out of here.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yes, you'll know that some shenanigans are at play if that happens. So don't count on it for sure. Maverick with a 5 says, following Rippa's success, will we see a renaissance of new quality stories available through self-publishing, or will the bigs gatekeep the quality? Well, they can't gatekeep the quality. That's the thing. No. Those days are behind us. The fact that we're able to do things like this, there's also the crowdfunding element that has completely changed the game. So people that don't have access to the resources can get access to resources by showing kind of proof of concepts and stuff. So they can't do that. So I believe that, as people are calling it, the Iron Age is among us, or we are going to enter into a creative renaissance, and there are going to be a lot of cool things that are going to happen. So yes, you're going to have those people that may gravitate towards the bigs because that's all that they know. But as the Riververse proves, you can absolutely do it without them, and it's more affordable than it ever has been. If you could just provide a product that people actually want and things that people actually want to buy, making it for an audience that actually exists, you can see greatness. So I believe that there's no more gatekeeping that.
Well, yeah, DC and Marvel have what, 9% of the market share? They're not even at the gate.
That's true.
The majority is manga.
Yep.
And with the figures that Eric's posting on these sales, he's going to have his slice of that pie chart real soon. And it's only going to grow. And think about it, with a fraction of the content.
Yes. That's true.
DC Marvel still put out a lot of crap.
It
still cannot move that needle.
every week it's just putting out stuff just to say they put out stuff. Right. It seems like what it is. So true to your point, yes, we're learning more about quality over here, giving people like actual reason. I love our format in which we're able to, like, we're telling longer stories, right? So it allows you guys to really just let your minds run kind of wild, and you're not so limited to just okay, I only got 20 pages here, and that's it. And who knows if I'm going to be able to write another 20 pages or another 20. Like now, it's like you get to tell your story. So I do like that format, and it allows us a little time in between as well. So yeah, they can't, Maverick. They can't. They maybe they think they can, but no. I mean, the economics have just completely changed. Things are not the same.
In a way, they do contribute to our quality because they keep blacklisting and shitlisting talent that we
True.
can pick up.
Then we get Chuck, and then we get Joe Bennett, and then we get Mike
Joe
Barron.
Bennett. Joe Bennett. Why? If you were Marvel, why the hell would you let him walk out?
Unfucking believable, man. It's insane. Like a guy that's talented for nothing, you decided to walk away. That lets us know you're not worried about quality. It's too good of a fucking and at the time, you know, he's doing what was like arguably their best work as far as like the whole Immortal Hulk thing. The one thing that a lot of people liked coming out of Marvel was Immortal Hulk, right? And you said, nah, we don't want this guy.
He was selling books, on his name, on his talent, and they let him leave.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Because of who he voted for in Brazil.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Unbelievable, man. Well, if nothing else,
Marvel mixing it up with Brazilian politics.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense.
Unbelievable. Well, here we are. So we're fine. So like I said, thank you guys so much for allowing me to work with Joe Bennett and keep giving him work. So True Vintage R&B fan with a 5 says the Ripper fans are holding secret meetings for the Yara campaign. You may have the Guatemalan steroid hamsters, but we got the invincible Thundercats. Oh shit. So look, I mean, the steroid hamsters, as you guys saw, y'all couldn't beat them, right? Y'all couldn't beat them. So Yara, we know is going to be a big campaign. I don't think y'all got it in y'all to beat them. We're going to go with another dub. It's just back-to-back wins. This was going to happen. Trey Gordon with a 10 says, so does Alphacore have an arc title like ISOM? Alphacore someday get an omnibus? I'd imagine. Yeah. Well, look, as long as Chuck's around, we'll keep doing Alphacore. But like, look, we did the first one. We heard you guys loud and clear. You guys want more of it. So at some point, yes, you're going to get more Alphacore. It's no way around it.
I want that omnibus on my shelf.
Yeah, exactly. So most definitely that's what you're gonna get soon enough. So yeah. Let me continue on. Okay, appreciate that. Also becoming a member. Maverick, fly through these. Dyed beard gold win. It's not happening. Hometown hero, forget about it. Black Ice with a 10 says, can't wait for Alphacore. Thank you, Eric. And thanks for introducing me to other greats. Speaking of, love Joe Frankenstein. Shout out, Chuck. Says, I can't wait for number 2. You and Graham knocked it out of the park. Yes.
Our project.
I love it. We actually had them on here to talk about a little bit of Joe Frankenstein. So you guys that are maybe intrigued by that, you get a lot of information if you want to watch that stream. There is he selling that on demand at Compass?
Yeah.
All right. So you guys can get that if you go to Compass Comics. He's also working on I think they just closed that out with the Ghost of Matacumba Key.
Yeah.
Well,
very well.
Yeah, went very well. Over 200,000, right?
Yeah, hardest working man in comics.
Yeah.
He built that following up from nothing on just comics. He did it the opposite way you did.
Yeah, he did the opposite way I did it. Yep, exactly. So that lets you know how great he actually is. So
yeah, he and Julie they work like crazy to make that thing work, and they did. And I'm so proud of them.
Hell yeah. Shout out Graham Nolan, man. Big time. We have all right. Defendo right there with a 10 says 10 million Yara campaign goal. Ripper does a stream and Yara car. You fucking kidding me? Absolutely not. Unless we could somehow make this into like a man costume, perhaps. But there ain't no way I'm wearing that shit. Forget about it. Like I said, I've been long compromised. If I do that shit again, I've been replaced by a cyborg.
That's when we know it's the cyborg.
Yeah, the cyborg Ripper. It's not me. If that ever would have happened. So forget about it. But no, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. We're about to close in on the 2-hour mark. So we've been here. We have actually officially, and I'll say this on the way out, hit 995, right? So pin comment if you have not seen it already. At this trajectory, end of the day, we hit 1 million, and we see what happens there. And remember, you guys are going to get the first Riververse Studio shirt. So yeah, man, this is crazy. It's been a crazy campaign. We, of course, appreciate you. I thank you all so much. We're having a blast. Can't wait for you to get the book actually in hand very, very soon. Is there anything else you want to leave with the audience before we get out of here, Chuck?
Just thank all of you. Thank you for sharing the faith in me that Eric has, that we're going to do a quality product. And I assure you, you're going to love it. And we're going to see sales go up as the word of mouth gets out. This is, this thing's a blast. It was a lot of fun to work on. And I think you guys are going to have fun reading it.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. Well, again, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. I'll be back at some point. Maybe I'll stream tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see. But I got a lot of work to do here. Creative stuff that we're working on. But yeah, thank you, man. Thank you all so much. Of course, I thank Chuck Dixon for joining us here, talking everything Alphacore. We will see you next time, and perhaps the next time I do stream, we will have crossed over into that $1 million benchmark. Thank you guys so much. We are going to get out of here. I will see you guys next time, and until next time, y'all be easy. Peace out, y'all.